Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and today we are doing a Game Week 34 wildcard draft video, where I'm going to be showing you guys what I would do if I were to wildcard in Game Week 34. I think this is a great week to wildcard. You'll get a real good lay of the land. We know what fixtures teams have got now and we can start planning for the double game weeks that remain in this season. And it's just such a fantastic game week to wildcard. So guys, if you are still haven't used a wildcard, you want to use it, now is a really good time. Really good time. So that's all I'm going to say on that one, guys. So if you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe if you're new around here. But without further ado, guys, let's have a look at the players that I think you absolutely must have if you're on a wild card this game week. So guys, I've gone with a team value of 100.2 million. I've tried to keep it as close to 100 million as possible. If you do look at this team and end up thinking, oh, this team actually looks kind of weak, you know, I think I could do a bit of a better team like that than this. That's probably because your budget is a little bit better. So just trying to kind of use this as a template, as a rough guide. And then depending on what budget you have to play around with your own wildcard teams, you can start upgrading players from there. Also, guys, if you are not on a wildcard, I think this is a really good idea to look at these kind of teams to try and get an idea of what the kind of template is probably going to be shifting towards, what kind of players are most desirable right now. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that one. So the team value is low. Feel free to upgrade players depending on your own personal budget. Let's get on with it. Let's put some players on the pitch. So the first player I'm going to put on the pitch today is Schmeichel. So we've got a goalkeeper here who has got 2 double game weeks between now and the end of the season, which is pretty good. We've got Aston Villa next for Schmeichel, then Spurs, and then the 2 double game weeks in a row, especially that first one in game week 36, Everton and Norwich. That looks like such an amazing double game week for Leicester in general, and because it's kind of difficult to figure out which Leicester players to go for right now, particularly as they are rotating so much, they're really prioritising the Europa Conference League competition, which is fair enough. They can actually win that, whereas they're not really going to go up, they're not going to go down in the Premier League really anymore, they're not going to get relegated, they're not going to get European football that way. So yeah, you can see why they are trying so hard in Europe, and they're kind of just disregarding the Premier League, but they are still keeping Schmeichel every single game, which is very nice. That's the one player who seems to be sticking around. He's making a lot of saves at the moment. Leicester do seem to have improved defensively a little bit as well, and I do think there are some clean sheets in him, and he's got all of these fixtures as well. So there's so many benefits of going for Schmeichel. Definitely really like him. He's still pretty cheap. You know, he's cheaper than some of the other goalkeepers. You know, Sarr, Ramsdale, you know, Mendy, Edison, all of the other goalkeepers that might be popular. Schmeichel is a lot cheaper than them as well. So I'd definitely be going for him as my favourite goalkeeper to go for between now and the end of the season. We've got Trent Alexander-Arnold next in defence, the premium premium defender, I guess. He's 8.4 million, so he's pretty expensive. You know, if you don't quite want to spend the money, maybe you can go for a Robertson or something like that. But if possible, I think you don't cut any corners and you just go for Trent. He's super highly owned for a reason. He is an amazing point scorer for a reason. He is just doing so well this season again. He seems to be doing well every season, and he's got these fantastic fixtures: Everton, Newcastle, then the double game week, and then Southampton in 37. So really nice run of fixtures for Liverpool. You are going to want to go for a couple of Liverpool players, particularly as they are looking so good in attack. And I know Trent is a defender, but he is getting attacking returns and clean sheet points. It is amazing. He's got fantastic fixtures. Liverpool have got so much to play for right now. You know, they're going for the win in the Premier League. You know, so they're going to be going full strength all the way until the end of the season, which could bring some huge FPL scores for their players. So Trent, definitely a player you've got to have. As is Cancelo. It's the same situation. Man City really want to win the Premier League. We saw that they actually rotated in the FA Cup, so it seems like the Premier League is actually a higher priority competition for them. You know, that and the Champions League, I guess. So they really do want to do well in these other competitions. So let's see how they do here. They've got these amazing fixtures. We've got Watford and then Leeds, but I have put some predictions on the following game week, because I do think, as things stand, it looks like Man City are going to get a double game week in 36 versus Newcastle and West Ham, and then they'll play Wolves in game week 37. We're not 100% sure on that, but that's how I'm predicting it's going to play out. But we do know for sure that Man City will definitely have at least one double game week, and that's either going to be in game week 36 or 37. So again, with all of these good fixtures and the double game week there, that is a great time to go for some Man City players. Lots to play for. Cancelo is super nailed on. We know he's also he's suspended for the next Champions League game, so he is going to be prioritised in the Premier League as well. So hopefully he's going to do really well, get you some clean sheet points from the best defence in the league, as well as being a super attacking player, taking so many shots. Cancelo Marcelo is just the one for defence. Our next defender is Rhys James, so another defender in a similar ilk. We're looking for double game week players, we're looking for defenders who play for good defences, and we are looking for defensive players who have good potential for attacking returns as well. And that is exactly what we've got here with Rhys James. He is a little bit of a rotation risk in terms of how many minutes is he going to play in the Premier League, but I do think having now Chelsea now being out of the Champions League, I think that's going to really help James out in terms of minutes, and I think he is going to start seeing a lot more minutes in the Premier League as we approach the end of the season. I mean, the only other competition that Chelsea are in now is the FA Cup final, and that's not for a few weeks' time now. So that would be the 1 week where maybe we see a bit of rotation. But James he's back to fitness. He's obviously a super crucial player for Chelsea, and I think from Gameweek 34 we might start seeing some really nice point scores from him. I think he's going to do really well. So good fixtures, double game weeks all over the place. You know, especially the double game week right now, which is another reason why it's such a good time to wildcard now, because we can get all these Chelsea players in right now, ready for their double game week that they have immediately. So that's really good there. And the final defender I've got in for this wildcard draft is actually, we've actually gone for Emerson Royale at Spurs, who has got reasonably good fixtures outside of the double. The double is not the best double in the world, but, you know, it's Spurs. You would hope that, you know, with all they've got to play for, and that is another theme here, guys. We're going for a lot of teams with stuff to play for. Spurs still desperately trying to chase the Champions League positions. Hopefully, you know, we can pick some players that are going to perform really well during that run-in. They've got phenomenal fixtures, and they've got a double game week. I think they've got Norwich in game week 38 as well. So even the last day of the season, another great fixtures. And Emerson is, you know, really, really cheap. We do think Spurs is one of the better defences. He's not like the top level defence, but, you know, for a 4.5 million defender, like, what more can you really expect? You kind of expect mid to low level defences for that kind of price. So it's actually a pretty decent price for what he can offer. And the way that Spurs play is very, very fullback dependent, very, very fullback heavy. So the fullbacks often do quite well there as well. So that's pretty nice, I think. I think he's a pretty good budget option to go for if you are on a bit of a budget. But I would say that, guys, if you are someone with a little bit more budget, a little bit more money in the bank, this would be the position I would be first prioritizing my upgrade on. So this would be the position I'd kind of maybe try and upgrade this player, like Emerson, up to a Robertson, or maybe up to a Rudiger, depending on what other Chelsea players you want to go for. Maybe a second Man City defender, Laporte, for example, maybe you could go for there. So there are options, and I think Emerson, although I do think it's a good cheap pick, I do think that also you could potentially upgrade this one to a slightly more premium defender, because it seems like there's so many points available in defence right now that is one of the positions we want to be spending a little bit more of our money on. Okay, guys, let's go into midfield. We've got Mo Salah, no surprise there. I know a few people might be tempted to go without Salah. I know there is temptation, particularly if you're chasing rank. If you're really finding yourself really far behind and you just want to go super risky, then maybe you can go without Salah. But honestly, I'm looking at Salah, I'm looking at these fixtures that he has coming up, I'm looking at how well the Liverpool attack is performing right now, and we know that Salah is the best player in that attack. We know he's on penalties as well. Even if he isn't in the most amazing form right now, he's not in the top form of his life, he is still playing, I think, reasonably well. I know we kind of expect a lot from him. He's maybe not fulfilling that quite yet, but certainly I think he's doing. I think he's doing okay. I think he's doing okay, and I think the underlying stats, the chances that he's getting, the amount he's creating as well as shooting, I think it's only a matter of time before he bursts back onto the scene. So I think we've got some good points coming from Salah pretty soon. I'm not worried about that too much. So, you know, if you have him, definitely keep him. And if you're on a wild card, I don't think it's the right time to get rid of him. I think I would still keep him and go for him as our Liverpool attacker, if you like. If you want to double up and go for a second Liverpool attacker, fair enough. But I certainly would have Salah first and foremost. It's a little bit risky to go without him. And, you know, unless you really want to be really risky, then I think just keep him in your team and play it safe there. You know, the fixtures are pretty good. You've got double game week there. You're probably going to want to captain him in double game week 36 as well. You know, maybe even if you've got a triple captain left, you know, Salah in game week 36 is probably not a bad shout, to be fair. So yes, Salah, he stays in all season. Never let him go. We've got Heung-min Son next. It's a case of Son versus Kane, really, isn't it, at the moment? But I do feel like Son is kind of winning the battle between Son and Kane at the moment. And when you're on a wildcard, you can just pick one. If you've got one or the other in your non-wildcard team and you're not wildcarding, just stick with whoever you've got. But if you're on a wildcard, choose your favourite. My favourite right now is Son, and part of that is because he's a little bit cheaper. He is over $1 million cheaper than Kane, but also he is, you would say, in better goal scoring form. You can see he's playing a little bit more advanced than Kane. He's scoring more goals at the moment than Kane. Kane is kind of dropping back and being a bit more of a creative force on in a way, which is pretty nice. So you get a cheaper player. You get a player who gets points for clean sheets. He gets an extra point for a goal. It's all good in the hood. Everyone kind of wins. I just feel like Son is just slightly the better option, unless, of course, you have a lot of midfielders that you really want to get in your team. If you've got a lot of different midfielders and you're trying to make room for more midfielders, then maybe go for Kane instead of Son. But again, that's going to affect your budget and stuff like that as well. So yeah, it's kind of up to you, but I've gone for Son for this team. We've got Havertz next. So we are going for some more Chelsea players. I think that's really important that we do go for some more Chelsea players. I still feel like Havertz is the better pick than Mason Mount at the moment when we kind of look at the underlying stats and the position that Havertz is playing. I know Mount has been doing really well recently, but Havertz is playing, he's playing centrally. He's taking a lot of shots, particularly a lot of shots in the box. He is, if you look over a kind of 5-game period, Havertz is the primary goal threat for Chelsea at the moment, and that's where points are at the end of the day with midfielders. So he's kind of in a way playing as a striker, but he's listed as a midfielder. So we're getting striker levels of shots and contributions like that. And we get the points for a midfielder. It's really good, and it seems like Havertz is so important to the way Chelsea are playing at the moment that I just think like he's going to be such a good pick to go for the rest of the season. I'm not too worried about rotation as I previously was, because like I say, he is just so important for the way Chelsea are playing right now. And if Chelsea want to keep at a level, they need to have players like Havertz playing for them. That's just it. So he doesn't seem to be getting rotated. He's apparently a super fit guy and can just play as many games as you need him to. And if he's performing well, he will continue to play. So yes, like I say, I do prefer Havertz to Mount just about. But that isn't to say that we don't want Mount in our team, because we are doubling up on the Chelsea attackers and we're going for Mason Mount as our second Chelsea attacker here. So yeah, I do like Havertz a lot, but I also like Mount a lot. And I do think Mount has, I know I've kind of been, in FPL terms, I've been kind of critical of Mount in previous weeks, I think. But certainly recently, and I'm kind of watching the way Mount is playing, I think Mount is really benefiting from Timo Werner on the other side. Timo Werner kind of providing the pace on the other side, speeding up the play a little bit for Chelsea. And Mount is kind of getting in the right positions at the right time and getting, we saw he's got a few tap-ins recently. And that's kind of only possible when you've got these kind of players around him. So I think Mount, the benefit of him playing a little bit better and the system suiting him a little bit more in terms of him getting goal contributions, which is what matters most when we talk about FPL. I also like the fact that he is, he's always that fan favourite, always playing, always, pretty nailed on to start. No matter what, that Mount is going to play games. Like he's like one of the least rotation risk players in Chelsea. And I know that is a massive problem with Chelsea, the rotation. But certainly, if you're looking for a non-rotation risk player, Mason Mount definitely provides that. So he's really good in that respect as well. So yeah, we've got triple at Chelsea in this team. I definitely would be going for triple Chelsea. We've got the double game week right away. We've got another double game week in 36. It's double game weeks galore for Chelsea players. And it's, out of the teams that have multiple double game weeks left, Chelsea are the highest quality team of those double game week teams, double game week teams, I suppose. So yeah, definitely would be tripping up on Chelsea if on a wild card. It's kind of up to you the way you go with it. The other players you can maybe consider are Timo Werner, Alonso, maybe if you want to take a real risk and you don't want to spend the money in defence. Maybe Rudiger, Werner. Yeah. There's options, but these three would be my three favourite Chelsea players to go for, and that's why they made the wildcard draft. And we're going to finish off the midfield here, guys, with 5-man midfield. We're going to finish it off with Martinelli. The fixtures are okay. I know Manchester United, to be fair, have been struggling defensively a little bit, so I would be pretty confident about that one. We have got a double game week in 36, so you'll see in a minute, guys, when we get the bench up, that we have got enough players to have a full team of doublers in game week 36, which is exactly what you want, a full starting 11 of double game week players. But yeah, Martinelli, the fixtures are okay. Arsenal have a lot to play for, which is something that's really important. And fair enough, Arsenal have not been playing fantastically recently, but Martinelli is a player who's actually been getting some chances. Goals disallowed. He's been getting really in there. He's been performing, I think, pretty well. There's probably an argument to maybe go for Saka instead of Martinelli. Saka is typically known as a better player, I suppose, but both of these players are nailed on at the moment because there's players missing and stuff from Arsenal. So both of them aren't equally as nailed on, I would say, at the moment. But the difference is Martinelli is a lot cheaper than Saka, a lot cheaper. And for 5.3 million, you are really going to struggle to find a better player than this. Now, fair enough, if you've got a little bit more budget, a little bit more money in the bank, you want to upgrade a Martinelli to someone a little bit more with a little bit more of a star factor, I suppose. I don't know. Fair enough if you've got more money, but for 5.3 million to get a player of this quality playing for a top team with a lot to play for still, because remember that's what we've got to be thinking about. Players, the teams that aren't going to rotate, players with a lot to play for left in the Premier League. These are kind of the players that we want, and Martinelli provides that as well as having the insane value at 5.3 million. You won't get better value than that, really, in terms of midfielders. And finally, we're going to finish off the team, or the first 11, with a super cheap forward in Mateta. Yeah, we're going to go for Mateta. He's got Newcastle this game, so we could potentially rotate him with some more of the forwards on the bench that I'll show you in a minute. But the basic premise to this team is to take all of the money out of the forwards. We know by now, you guys know as well, forwards are just troll players. They just mostly just get us 2 points per game week. And in that case, why do you want to spend 7 million, 7.5 million on a forward when you could just get a nice cheap player in there and prioritize spending your money on getting a load of premium defenders in your team that are scoring really well at the moment? You can get Salah, Son, and have like the mid-price kind of midfielders like Havertz and Mount. To have both of those players, you do have to make sacrifices somewhere, and where else to make sacrifices than in a position that isn't scoring points anyway? So I really like this way of thinking. I really like the small at the front type of kind of tactic and strategy right now. It's definitely something that I'm going to be doing between now and the rest of the season. So if you're on a wild card, you could get one step ahead of me, or you get one step ahead of a lot of people and take all of the money out of your strike force, because the only forward that is really worth considering right now, I suppose, is maybe Harry Kane, or maybe in a few game weeks time, maybe you want to consider like Watkins or Richarlison when they have a double game week in 37. But even then, even in game week 37, it's going to be like these teams are not going to have much to play for. Are they going to rotate? You don't really know what's going to happen at that point in the season. So honestly, I can't see too much point in spending a lot of money in attack. We know that Mateta has got a lovely double game week in game week 37 as well. So we do need to kind of pick at least a couple of players with doubles in 37. So that's going to be pretty nice, even though he doesn't have a double in 36. So yeah, overall, he's a cheap player. He's reasonably nailed on for Crystal Palace. He's certainly considered one of their better players, and he's a first choice in the striker position. He's been playing pretty well. He's been looking impressive, and he's super cheap, a little bit differential. Got some fairly decent fixtures between now and the end of the season. Why not? Why not? Why not go for him? So that's exactly who we're going to be going for as our forward. Well, let's bring up the bench, guys. We've got a few players of no value. So we've got McGovern there, who plays for Norwich. He's just a 3.9 million goalkeeper. Certainly if you've not got a bench boost left, then you probably don't need to worry about spending too much money on your bench players. So you may as well just go for some cheapy guys, just like Ford, who plays for Watford. He's like, super cheap, base level price forward. Allows you to spend a little bit more money on your starting 11. We've got Pukki in there, though, as well, who is good because he's got a double game week in 36. So in 36, you would swap Mateta and Pukki, and you'd have a full starting 11 of all double game week players, which is really nice, really beneficial, something that you want to do. And we've got Mitchell there. He's going to sit on your bench mainly as kind of backup, as kind of cover. Maybe you play him in some game weeks. Certainly, you would play him in game week 37 because he has a double in 37, as does Mateta, as does Schmeichel as well. So we've got a couple of players in there who have doubles in game week 37. If you wanted to save a couple of your transfers and actually work towards, moving some of your game week 36 doublers to game week 37 doublers, you could a bit nearer the time, but I would be careful. Game week 37 is a bit of a trap double game week because a lot of the teams that do have doubles are, one, not very good teams, and two, they're going to be teams that won't have much to play for. They're very mid-table teams mostly. There's going to be a heavy rotation, and you may find that even by going for double game week players, you end up being stuck with players who play one of the two doubles, and in the second game or something, they just get rotated with a youth player or something because the team has nothing to play for. That is a real risk, a real possibility. So yeah, just be conscious about 37 and focus more on game week 36, I think. Now, guys, this is the final team. It's looking pretty good, I think, particularly for the amount of money spent. What I would say is, guys, if you have a bench boost left, you are going to need to improve that bench a little bit. So maybe you can upgrade McGovern to another double game week 36 or 37 goalkeeper, and same thing with your third striker spot. I don't know who you go for. You'd probably be looking to try and get like a Watkins or Richarlison in there, probably. It's a little bit risky with potential rotations as we get later on in the season with nothing to play for. I don't know. But yeah, you probably want to be looking for a player something like that, or maybe even going for a Weghorst if you still have any faith in him whatsoever. I know he scored yesterday, to be fair. So yeah, there are different options there, particularly if you've got more budget. But I wanted to give you a base really to start off with, and hopefully you can improve this team as you as per your own preferences, I suppose. But yeah, here's the template for you guys. Let's slam a captain's armband on a player. We're going to stick the captain's armband on Havertz for his double game week. He's my favourite Chelsea player at the moment, and we'll put the vice captain on Salah as well, because he's Salah really. He's always a captain option, isn't he? And he plays against Everton at home, which could be pretty nice as well. And there we have it, guys. That is the Gameweek 34 wildcard team that I really like. Tell me what you think, guys. Is that looking pretty good to you? And that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed what you saw today. Really helps out the channel. And if you want more FPL content on your screens every single day, pretty much, then please do subscribe as well. That would be massively appreciated. Tomorrow we will have Buy, Sell, Keep, Avoid. Then we'll have 100 Experts. We'll have our team selection video. I'll do a strategy stream at some point, and then we'll be on Friday. And I don't know what I'm going to do on Friday yet. Maybe something to do with differentials. I don't know. I like talking about differentials at the moment, so maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. So yeah. Loads of content to come this game week, guys, so yeah, stay tuned. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching once again, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.